Hey, welcome in and thanks for stopping by for a few minutes and checking out the channel. I just recently picked up the Beatles Get Back 3 Blu-ray box set from the Let It Be album, and I wanted to do a little bit of an opening showing the packaging and talk about the contents and kind of let you know what to expect when you pick it up. So let's start all the way in the end over there. We've got the Beatles Get Back book. That thing is huge. It's a monster. I don't want to pick it up and just flip through it in the video, but you can see how big it is in relation to the LP next to it. So you can see it's a sizable book. If you don't have it and you're kind of on the fence about getting it, I would tell you, pick it up. It is full of really, really great photos. Linda McCartney contributed a lot of her photos to it, posthumously, of course. And but it's just full of great. There's some screen still shots from the video footage, but it's mostly the photographers that were allowed in that contributed their photos. The next thing over is the Giles Martin recent remix 2021 re-release of the Let It Be album, and man, I'm telling you what, that blew my doors off. So I have the box set here that you can see. This is the stereo box set, not the mono one. I prefer stereo. That's just my personal preference. But that right there absolutely knocked my socks off. I almost passed on it because I have it on vinyl 3 or 4 times. It's the same release. Just every time they put it out, I end up falling for it and buying it again. And so I almost passed on it, and I'm really glad I didn't, because it's really, really great. Really great mix. Pick that one up if you don't have it. I'm not here to pitch Beatles stuff at you. They don't need me to help with anything, but I'm just showing you some of the things that I have and what I like about this album. We have the Let It Be Naked CD right here with the extra bonus disc of them talking in the studio, which to me, it was kind of new at the time. I have a lot of stuff. I have all their albums, the original albums. I have some bootleg stuff. I've got a pretty good amount of Beatles stuff, so I'm not a complete novice. I'm no pro by any stretch, but I do enjoy their music. I love their music, and I have a good amount of it. But the bonus disc on here was fascinating to hear the first time for me. And I'm not a Phil Spector fan at all. I don't like his style that he had. So when they put out the Naked album and pared it down, I really enjoyed that. And people say that the Let It Be album was the weakest of the Beatles albums. I don't agree with that. It's one of my favorite albums that they put out. People say that it's a bad album or not their best, but it's not the best. But they say it's not even close to being their best. But then there are 6 or 7 absolute masterful performances on there, like Let It Be and Get Back. It's got some real classics on it, and it's just always been a personal favorite of mine. So the Let It Be Naked vinyl that I have here is a little bit hard to get just because it's price prohibitive. It's not hard to find. You can't just walk into a record store typically and find it. You can sometimes, I imagine, but not very often. You can get it on eBay, though. It's just not cheap. So I was looking forward to a box set like the White Album and the others that they've put out, Abbey Road, and it just hasn't come around yet, but hopefully it does. But we finally got the video. So this is the 3 Blu-ray set that just recently came out. I see what they did there with the back. Get Back. See there? So this comes with a nice slipcase on it. Very sturdy, rugged, everything that you would expect from the Beatles. It's always top shelf, always good quality. This is a 3-panel release. It just says the Beatles on there, and then it has the Twickenham background. And then in this sleeve right here is pictures of each of the band members that come out, almost like a large postcard. And then we have pictures from Twickenham, the Beatles recording studio, Apple, and then the rooftop show. And then in between each one is a slipcase. Now I have probably 20 to 30 box sets, and some of them are super difficult to get the disc out. This one just pops right out, but at the same time, it doesn't just slide out. See, they don't just fall out. Some of these box sets I have, it feels like you're gonna snap the disc trying to get it out or break the packaging, and it's really hard to get some of these discs out. But of course, with the Beatles, as always, what you would always expect, they nail it. So with that being said, I kind of want to talk about a little bit of the contents that you're going to get inside here. So I have always loved this album. It's always been a favorite of mine. I have always wanted some of this extra footage. I love the behind the scenes stuff, and I was so excited to get this. And then I popped in disc 1, popped in disc 2, popped in disc 3, and you know, sometimes you just get a little too close to the fire. Just being completely honest about it. It could have been a 1-disc presentation, honestly. I know Peter Jackson had about 60 hours of video footage to go through, and he edited it down to these 9 hours of footage. But, you know, let's just take disc 2, for instance. Roughly the first hour to maybe a little bit longer of disc 2 is the other 3 members of the band waiting around to see if George is going to come back or not after he quits the band. So he left for 3 days, but it felt like we watched the entire 3 days. It could have been edited down. It just really, there's times where they're just sitting there doing nothing, and we're just sitting there like idiots watching it. Look, I love the Beatles. I'm so excited to have gotten this box set, but I don't need to just see people just sitting at a table. Honestly, it's not that it was boring. It was just not interesting. There was no interesting storyline. There was no interesting characters. It just really didn't go anywhere. And when they did rehearse, they also seemed, you know, when Brian Epstein died, that to me is what broke up the Beatles. And they even mentioned it in the video that they don't have any direction since Brian died. They actually say that. They do a lot of rehearsing of, not even rehearsing, they jam old songs that they've known. You can see all the Elvis stuff on the wall behind me. I'm obviously very clearly a big Elvis fan. If you watch my channel, you know this. And it was cool to see them jamming early Sun record material, Blue Suede Shoes, Milk Cow Blues Boogies, Good Rockin' Tonight, whatever. It was really cool to see that. But they were supposedly in a time crunch to do the live show because Ringo had to go do his movie that he was making, and the Twickenham rehearsal space needed to be used for the movie, and so they were in a time crunch. But instead of rehearsing, and I'm only going by what's in the box set, there was 60 hours of footage, so maybe there was rehearsal footage, I'm sure there was, of other songs that they just didn't show, that Peter Jackson didn't show, but it just seemed like they just had no direction, they had no motivation, they didn't really care. This whole thing that they spent the whole time fighting and arguing isn't the case, which is nice to see. There were some disagreements and some frustration and angst on the parts of the band members, but they mostly just seemed like a ship adrift at sea without a rudder. They weren't taking the rehearsals that seriously. They were jamming old songs that they knew and doing a little bit of work on some of the new songs. So it just went on and on and on. It didn't need to be 9 hours long. Was it worth the price of admission? Yes, it was. And I'll tell you why. One is the picture quality was great because we've always had just YouTube or bootleg footage for the most part. We've had some pro shot footage in good quality, but mostly subpar. So it was nice to have 9 hours of footage in great quality picture-wise and sound-wise. So that's number one. But number two, and I think this is the biggest one, is the entire rooftop concert. Debbie, the receptionist for the Beatles, steals the show. She absolutely stole the show. She pretended to not know what was going on when the police came in. She played dumb. She acted like she didn't have access to the roof. She said that they would be turning it off in a couple minutes. They were just filming a little bit of a piece for a movie. She just threw out. She knew what her job was that day, and that was to stall the police. And she did absolutely an amazing job. That was, to me, that was the highlight of the entire thing, other than the Beatles performing themselves, was Debbie, the receptionist, stalling the police and just making them look like complete clowns. I would like to know what they think now, all these decades later, 5 decades later. I understand they're still alive, these gentlemen. I would love to know what their thoughts are now of watching themselves on film be totally played, and all the years that have passed, and what happened with John and George, and the band never got back together, and that was their final performance. I would love to know what their opinion of it is now, but to watch them be stonewalled in the reception area by the cute little blonde receptionist that played dumb and totally derailed them was, I would just love to know what they think. That was great. I literally laughed out loud 4 or 5 times, and she absolutely nailed it. And then the Beatles performance was great. Of course, they had the clacker out. They stopped the performance in between songs to reset for the film and all that, which I get. It was filmed for a movie. But the performance itself was great. They struggled in the studio with concentration and motivation, and didn't seem to have their heads on straight. They just weren't interested, to be honest with you. Or not to be honest with you, but my honest opinion was they weren't too interested in what they were doing. And George quitting, and Ringo saying he wasn't going to do this and he wasn't going to do that, and then George complaining about everything. It was just really frustrating. But once they got onto the rooftop and started performing, it was like all that went out the window, and they absolutely killed it. So the rooftop concert at the end, just that alone was worth the entire purchase price of this box set. So the DVD box set, which why anybody would buy a DVD box set, three DVD set is about $25. This is the Blu-ray set. It's about $100. I got them on Amazon. It's worth the $100 just for the last hour of disc 3. The rooftop concert was really, really, really awesome. And to see the cops come out and the urgency that the Beatles showed, and they were kind of antagonistic at the same time, they kept playing. And it was just was awesome. It was really awesome. So go get yourself some Get Back. Get yourself a box set. Pick up the Let It Be Naked. Pick up the Let It Be Giles Martin. Pick up the Beatles book. If you don't have them, pick them up. If you already have them, then you know why I would say pick them up. They're great. But get the Get Back box set. It's great. Just don't go into it expecting crazy action, because there's a lot of sitting around, a lot of uninspired rehearsal, and then a magnificent concert at the end. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. And like, share, subscribe, and go get you some Beatles. Get back. Get back. See you later.